Okay, you guys are live.
Yeah.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another session of Geti under the banner of disruptive education. We in Geti, our vision is to bring the best from the educators on global level so that we can enrich you the best ways of life. Now, about today's session. Before I start today's session, I would like to introduce our speaker, Dr. Bharti, who is now the director for Words International School. He is into this field of education from 29 years as an administrator. He was an ex vice principal for Army Public School, Lucknow, and he was also an ex principal for AJPS, Lucknow. Sir has devoted many of his years in field of education. He has come into contact with many parents during this session, and with this, he has collected a lot of information about parenting. Now, friends, parenting. For parenting, I can say that if you have never been hated by your child, you are not a good parent. So, children grow up, they learn from whatever the grown ups do, not the grown ups talk. So, parenting is a very
Thank you, Ms. Lopa. Good afternoon, one and all present over here. And I am going to start my session just by saying that even before the post COVID and even after the post COVID pandemic, it has always been a great challenge to do a good parenting because always it is been observed that parents are finding it difficult to deal with the Google generation in the present day scenario. So altogether, I just put down all my experience of 29 of years, which I have invested in working with the different schools. Now today I am going to share it with you all. And the aim is to apprise you about the few things that you can inculcate to become a good parent, and you can deal very nicely with your kids in the present day scenario. So starting with the today's session, the tagline would be for today's session would be, do not compare your child with the others, let him compete with himself only. Do not indulge your child in the general rat race. Rather, ask him or her to become an individual. So, let's move on. My first suggestion, my first tip is to all my dear parents is that you should always appreciate and admire your child for his or her small achievements also. Doesn't matter whatever small thing he or she has done, but if you appreciate him, he would be doing much better on the next time, or he will try to improve himself or herself for the better perfection on the next day or the next task he or she is going to do. Now, what I would like to say, that try to become a role model for your own kids. Whatever you say, you try to complete that. Don't make the false promises, because each and everything what is being told to your kids by yourself, they are going to reproduce it with you only. So do not make any false promises and try to perform your task or whatever you are saying should be completed in the letter and spirit. Similarly, now I would like to put some emphasis and every quote, every slide, I am using it with one of the alphabet, and that is what the meaning of A to Z of good parenting skills. Do not compare or never compare your child with the other childs, maybe your relatives, maybe your neighborhoods. Always compare your child with himself. You will see the tremendous improvement in all kind of work that he or she is going to do, and make your child more and more confident by trusting each and small work or deed that is being done by your kid. All these small gestures will be very beneficial to grow your child independently. Always, I emphasize, always train your child, your kid, to be very firm and decisive. That means whatever the stand once has been taken, he or she should be stand onto that and try to complete and take it to the at the conclusive step. So he or she needs to be firm whatever he or she is doing, and at times when he or she is independent, that automatically going to develop the decisive capability of the students, of the kids, of the children. Similarly, always, always try to encourage your child with a small appreciation of good things, whatever he has done in the past. So that will help your child to do his or her task in a better manner. And always train your child or always encourage your child to be very, very task oriented. Once he or she is going to do any kind of work, he should be or she should be limited to that work unless that work is conclusive, it is completed, and the result or whatever the outcome is needed has been achieved. And one more very, very experienced suggestion for all of you: never, never ever fight in front of your child, because that is going to give a very, very wrong impression of yourselves to the child. So avoid any kind of argument between yourself in front of your child. Rather, avoid it and fix it for some other time when you are away from your kid. So that will help to make the home environment very, very conducive for everything which is being done at your home front or whatever the things you are sharing with your kids. Next thing that I would like, and I always believed that there is some mighty spirit behind all of us. So always teach your child to be very, very God fearing and God loving, so that he develops a faith, and that way he or she can also become uh, having a more strong willpower, that is helping the as everybody says, when the prayers go up, blessings come down. So always tell your child to pray with the God for good of every human being present on the earth. So that includes you, me, and he or she himself as well. So that way, the whole humanity is going to get benefited. Again, adding to that, the honest and responsible citizens could lead a nation well forward. So, therefore, always inculcate the habits in your kid to be very, very honest in all kind of work that he or she is doing, and let him or her be bit more independent, so that way they will become more and more responsible. So once they are responsible, so on later on stages, whatever the role they are going to take up during the later half in their life, so that way they will become good citizens of their country or wherever they are working, and that could well be the beneficial for the place where they are working, and that way they can move forward and they can go ahead, whatever the work, whatever the task, whatever the responsibilities they are having. So that will boost the nation as well as and the group where they are working straight away. Another advice for you, dear parents, as I also mentioned previously, the word independent, that is going to help a lot to the students, to the children, to the kids once they move out and face the real world scenario. Therefore, you are requested to make them independent. Don't interfere every now and then in whatever they are doing. My suggestion is to assign them a task and then wait for some time till the task is being completed. So try to minimize your interference, let them conclude, let them finish the task, and then you can come out with the suggestions for the improvement. But interference in between while the task is being performed, that might irritate them and they may leave the assigned task in between, and they may not go to up to the conclusion of the whatever the task has been assigned to them. And at times I am speaking from my long experience that the when you leave them independent and ask them to do complete their task by themselves, at that time you can monitor, you can experience that brings a lot of creativity into them. They are going to find out the different ways to complete their task, even whatever we or you could not imagine before assigning them to the task. So therefore, the as much as independent you will leave them, they will become more and more creative, and also be a less burden on your shoulders because they do perform their task independently. Moving ahead, I would request you all to never make any kind of differentiation between girls and boys, between the siblings, whether you are a girl, whether you are a boy, always give equal weightage to every kind of, even a bit of thing, to, doesn't matter whether your kid is a male or your kid is a female. Take all the decisions judiciously without distinguishing between them. So that is required because unconscious, in unconscious mind, they do observe even a small things, whatever is being done by us. So therefore, you and we also need to be very, very careful that even unconsciously we should not do any such kind of deed which is going to differentiate between the siblings, being they are being male or they are being female, because that is going to be a very difficult situation for them to cope up with. So therefore, just see to it that there should not be any distinguishment in between. Sometimes it is seen that whatever we do, they are going to copy us. So therefore, it's my humble request to all my dear parents that never ever make any false promise that in future you are not capable of completing it, or you are not going to fulfill your promise. So do not make such kind of promises, because that will become an habit into your kids, that they will, whenever they go for any kind of work, any kind of deeds, any kind of task assigned to them, or sometimes they have been asked to do something, they will promise it and they will not be going to complete it in time, or at all they are not going to complete it because they have seen you doing that. That our parents made the promises just like the sake of it. So do not do that. Always make the promises that you can fulfill. False promise is going to reflect a very bad image to that. And one way you are teaching them, you are training them to speak lies. So that should not happen, because whatever they see, they replicate you in the future.
Right. Very much right. Very
And always make it a point that during the long working hours throughout the day, there should be one time, at least maybe half an hour or 45 minutes, where each and every one of family collects together and share the some goods or things that have been done throughout the day, and sharing and caring for each other should be there. And as it is says that when you laugh, your immune system develops. So that way, laughing together and spending a quality time with each member of the family at least once for half an hour or so throughout the day. So that is going to make a very good connect with your family members, and that is going to give a very good bonding between each member of the family.
Sir, sometimes what happens, I can, I'm just in between, I'm just talking, and sometimes it happens that parents sometimes make promises which they want to fulfill, but somehow we cannot. So, in that respect, what we can do? We are not giving any false promise, but sometimes due to circumstances, things becomes different. difficult. So how we can tackle that situation?
That way, what we can do that our intention should be like that we are going to do that, but in case we are not able to do that, we should make them convince by
Right.
proper justification that right now maybe this is not possible, but in time to come we are definitely going to fulfill your promise and we should do that. And once it is done, your work is done, your work is complete, and then afterwards, never in the future, they will feel like being deceived, or they want and they will definitely uh, uh, accept whatever you are making as a promise to them. They will believe it and they will continue to do that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next, it's important that we are a social animal. So, therefore, as we move out in the society, there are certain rules that we need to follow. In the same way, every family should enforce some family rules, like, for example, that we are going to get up 5 o'clock in the morning, and every day we have to do 40 minutes of exercises. And if we are going out for any kind of work, we will come back by this time. Whenever we are going to go out, we will inform our elders and take their permissions. So, such kind of rules must be there in each and every family, and it should be strictly followed. And once the kids do see that their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their grandmother, fathers, all are following the similar kind of rules, so they will also be in the habit of doing that. So that is going to develop a very good morality and moral values into our kids. And once again, uh, every parent is very apprehensive about whether we should go physical with the punishment with our child, with our kids, or not. So, always I am of the point of view that one should never use the physical force to your child, because it is not going to solve any problem. Rather, it may add up to the problem further, because when you are punishing your child with the physical punishment, nowadays in the present day scenario, in the present society where we are living in the contemporary world, they are very well aware of different things, because they are very well exposed to the social media, and they are also very well aware of different rules and regulations formed by our government. So you need to be very, very careful while going physical with your kids. But as much as possible, we should avoid it, and especially once the kids crosses the age of 9 or 10, we should at all forget about the physical force to be implemented to your child, to ask him or her to perform or to complete any kind of task given to them. Only with the help of love and affection, whatever you can do cannot achieved by going physical with your kids. And similarly, along with no physical punishment, we should also see to it, even if we are not going physical, is still being a vocal, very bad vocal, we can also humiliate them. But this should also not happen. They should not feel offended in front of anyone. So always they should not feel humiliated once you are telling them or once you are scolding them. Rather, avoid scolding. You can be in a very good, healthy discussion. You can have a healthy discussion about the problem, whatever they are facing and you are facing, and try to solve it. And in case you are not able to do it then and there, so it is always better to take out some time and defer the situation, dilute the situation, and find out the appropriate time later on. And then, once you both are in good mood, you can discuss and dilute or solve your problem.
Right.
So, that way, never go physical and do not humiliate them in front of anyone. Going ahead with that, it is always the habit of parents, what I felt, that they always underestimate the potential of your child. So always try to encourage them, as we discussed earlier. Always let them be independent and let them be task oriented. Then only you will come to know about the potential of your child. And again, here I would repeat that do not compare your child with anyone.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Always you should try that your kid is the best kid, that is the God of gift given to you, and any kind of work can be performed by him or her. Never underestimate your child and let your child's full potential come out, and that can be achieved by making him or her more and more independent and creative in the situations, in the difficult situations. So that way we can optimize the potential, we can see the potential of our kids. It's always uh, noticed that when we sit together, it's a general practice that we start praising the kids of our relatives, our neighborhoods, and so on. That is fine enough. Everybody who has done good is eligible for praise, but at the same time, your child, your kid should not feel like that he or she has been neglected, or you are letting him down by praising somebody else. So you have to make the balance of praising other person in front of your child. Rather, try to avoid that. It is always better that if you want to praise somebody in front of your child, so firstly, praise him with 4 or 5 good qualities of your kid, and then you can discuss with the qualities of other kids in front of him. And as I told you, a small word of encouragement, a small word of praise is going to do the wonders for, and it is going to bring a great change in the behavior of your child. He will feel pride
Yes, sir.
and he will become more and more active and he will become more and more task oriented.
Right, sir.
As everybody is well aware of that right now in the present day scenario, we have got a lot, so many things which are available, which Maybe it may be on the social media, or it may be on the outside world in the society. So what I suggest that you should always have, you should always keep an eye to your child activities, whatever your kid is be doing, where he is going, who are their friends, and what are the activities that is being performed when or he she is away from the home. And also keep and close eye monitoring on your child when he is being exposed to the social media. And do not ignore, I emphasize upon that, do not ignore any kind of activity which could be harmful for him or her in future. Discuss it with them and stop it immediately. Whatever needs to be done should be done, but it should be done immediately wherever you feel that this task or this activity is going to harm your kids. So do not wait, do not hesitate, take a quick decision and stop him or her doing that harmful activities.
Right.
And it is always been a good idea that if we could sit together, as I also discussed earlier, that once throughout the day we can sit together, we can laugh, we can share each other daily routine and whatever the things we had throughout the day. And similarly, one way out for sitting together and sharing each other, that we can also ask them to read the good books, good storybooks which have some morals into it, and we as an elder can tell them the stories of our grandmothers and grandfathers which you used to really learn from them. Because if you remember, if at least I do remember that lot of stories that was told to us, each and every story has a moral. So through that story we can inculcate the moral value into our kids. So if it could be done together, spending time together, it is always good to share, to ask them to read books, or to share it in the form of the story, and make sure that the story has got some kind of moral into it. So that way we can also utilize the sharing time family with each other, each family members. That could be, this could be also one of the good thing while spending quality time with our kids.
Right, sir.
At times it is observed that we as a parent lose our patience very quickly. So we should remember, and we should not compare our kids with ourselves at that point of time. Because if we remember that onto that age, at what age they are right now, we also used to take at times a lot of time to understand the things. So, as it is rightly said, that nobody on this earth is perfect. A human being is liable to make a mistake. So, our kids as well. So, therefore, we should have patience and let our children to reach to the conclusion, and then we should deal them with a patient mind so that we can understand them and always make them able to understand whatever they are trying to do. So patience is going also going to be play an important role in the development of the child. So that way, once you show the patience, you will see that whenever they are going to perform any task or they are going to do some kind of duty, so they will also be going to be patient. So that way we can inculcate the this moral value into them. Like, as we all know that health is the biggest available wealth on the earth. And right now, in the present day scenario, we all can understand much better what is the role of the health in our life. If we are healthy, we can do everything. So every parents must define some rules so that which leads to the good health of your child. That may be the nutritious diet to the kids, avoiding of this to the kind of food they are having right now, the pizzas and burgers, which leads to the lot of problem, cold drinks, and rather we should specify them the benefits of the good food and ask them to complete their nutritious diet in a day, and then only they can afford to have a diet which can obey them. If it is possible, we should avoid these kind of fooding, but as it is there in the society, so we also cannot ignore them totally. So therefore we have to find out the ways and means through which we are able, as a parent, we are able to provide them the kind of protein, vitamins, and other nutrients which are required to their body, and then they can go ahead with a little bit of luxury of having pizzas and burgers and cold drinks, etc. Because health is the wealth. If you are healthy, then only your mind is also going to be healthy, and healthy minds will follow only with the good health. So therefore, nutritious diet, some exercises, and all that should be in the rule, daily routine rule, so that that can lead to be proper and better health for your kids. Now, as we are nearing to the end of our session, I would just like to tell you that these are the three very magic words that can do wonders with your kids or even with your any of your family members. Whatever the way you are, in whatever the way you are keeping yourself, whatever the things you are doing, whatever the way you are reading, whatever way you are wearing your clothes, it's all very good for me. And in all your good things, as and when it is required, you are doing. So, same way, I love you as our kids, as a human being. And whenever you find, you should also show your love towards your kids. It is equally important to show whatever you feel. Your feelings must and should be expressed time and again. So that will boost the morale of your kid, and that will enhance the bonding between you and your kid. So whenever you get the opportunity, please make the use of three wonder words. Sometimes it is seen that being the kids, and we as a parents, we do not give the importance of the thoughts and the opinions of our kids. But at times later on, when we analyze and when we see, we find that the whatever the thoughts and the ideas given by our kids were of very good use. So therefore, what I suggest, that in every single decision that you are going to take, which is related to your kids, you also must involve them while going to the final conclusion. Respect their thoughts, take their opinion, and if it is good, there is no harm in implementing that and including in that into your decision. In that way, they will become more and more confident, they will become more and more independent, and they will also be more connected to you, and they will try to involve themselves in a small activity which is being performed by you at your home, at all other different places. So always respect the opinion of your kids, take their thoughts in even a small decision that you are going to take. That is very, very important, and that will boost the independence and the morale of your child in the future. You need to be very, very watchful, as I told you earlier, that there are so many things which can expose them, or they can be exposed to them, because there are things which are available in the society. So we need to be, we should keep and close eye, as I told you earlier, that knowingly or unknowingly, and it is better that they should not able to know that you are keeping the eye onto them, but it is our duty always to keep a watch and need to be watchful parent for whatever the activities, where they are going, who are their friends, and all that. We need to be very, very watchful and very, very careful, because at times the teenagers, the students between 6 to 12 are most prone to adopt very quickly to the things which are not required to be done by them at their age. So it's our duty to be more and more disciplined. So need to be more watchful, and that can be inculcated in, as we discussed previously, that we should have some family rules, and we all must, including mother, father, and everybody, should follow the family rules. So that will also make your child disciplined, and he or she will also be very careful while going somewhere, while doing any activity, and as much as possible be communicative with them. Do not hide anything from them, and also share each and everything what you feel with them, so that they are also be communicative, and they should also be sharing even a small piece of information with you all. As being talked about everyone, you should also follow some good practices. As I told you, to read out some good storybooks having the morals. You can share the some stories, and even you can share with some stories of our uh, mythological books like Ramayana and Mahabharata, which have every story has got a particular moral behind them. So always keep on inculcating, keep on guiding your kids with the moral values or the value of the education. That being educated doesn't mean only to read the course book. Rather, you should be respecting each other. You should be respecting the each other religion. You should be respecting everyone, and you should not be hindering anyone from doing any kind of deed. Doesn't matter which arena of society they do belong. So, the value of education and the moral education is going to play an important role into it. So, dear parents, I think uh, with these few slides, I have shared all my experience, what I feel, and now I throw open this forum for interactive session. Thank you so much. Over to Lopa ma'am.
Sir, it was really a wonderful session, wonderful information you have given us. Friends, parenting is not at all a easy job, and I think our children live the life what we believe in them. So, sir has already told us that we first important thing is that we have to believe in our child. We have to believe in whatever they do. We have to give respect to the child. Then only we will get back respect from them. And the most important thing Sir has told us is that never leave an opportunity to say, I love you to your child. It will create miracles. These three words can create miracles in their life. And as in Geti, we also believe that competing with others is never a healthy competition. To develop yourself, you have to compete with your own self. As Getty, in Getty Forum, we try to always say to the parents, to the teachers, everyone, please follow this rule that competing with your own self can bring miracle in a child's educational level as well as its emotional and psychological level. Thank you, sir. Thank you being a wonderful speaker. You have given the A to Z. It's simply great. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the session,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.